Since I started this channel, I have a tradition of speedrunning the Minecraft seed of the upcoming year as fast as I can. And this year for 2024, I had a very simple goal in mind: beating the game in under 10 minutes. This is something I've done in other set seed videos, but never in one for the new year. What you're about to watch is this seed absolutely beating me down over and over and over. But to even get this far, I had to figure out the perfect way to route this seed. Alright, here we are at the spawn of the World Seed 2024, and let me show you the route that I came up with. We end up spawning right here, and the closest thing that makes sense to go to is the village, but the only tree on the way is right here, so we're gonna grab our first 3 logs right here. But instead of actually heading to this village first, we're gonna hop in this cave because this is gonna give us 4 iron along with some gravel for flint, and that's gonna give us our bucket and flint and steel to head into that lava pool. You might be thinking, well, Couriway, why don't you go kill the golem? Well, the golem spawns all the way out here, and this time it actually suffocated in this tree, which does happen sometimes in this seed. But if I was unlucky enough to get 3 iron here instead of 4, this would be really annoying for a set seed run, and it's actually just barely faster with the best luck I can possibly get. And regardless, even if the iron is easier, the only place to get gravel is in this cave. So the cave makes the most sense. We are still going to be heading to this village though, because we do need food for this run. So we're going to be heading to these 3 hay bales from the cave over there, and then we're going to be grabbing about 20 logs here because we need a lot of building blocks in the Nether. But along with that, we're going to take a halfway break point to enter this house through this cobblestone and grab the 5 apples in this chest, which will have a very important use later on in this run. Once that's all done, we're going to head to this lava pool and enter the Nether. And you might be thinking, Couriway, don't you need an iron pickaxe if you're going to the Bastion? That is very true. We only still have that 4 iron, remember, for a bucket and a flint and steel. So we are going to be needing at least 3 iron later on for an iron pickaxe. This Soul Sand Valley we spawn into is deadly, and I have had a lot of runs die just to poor movement or a skeleton or gas just absolutely ruining my time. One of the reasons we grabbed so much wood is because we needed to traverse over the soul sand as we don't have soul speed. And wood is just by far the easiest source to grab a bunch of blocks quickly and use to traverse. We're going to head up this mountain of soul sand through this conveniently placed cave and keep heading southwest until we end up at this other drop-off, which leads us to a ruined portal and eventually a treasure bastion. In this ruined portal, we're going to be able to get an Unbreaking 2 and a Thorns 2 chestplate, which is really useful because we can put on the Unbreaking 2 golden chestplate and we can take the Thorns golden chestplate to use to distract piglins in the treasure bastion. Once we're done with the ruined portal, we're going to drop down here with our boat and speed bridge about 10 blocks across this gap to enter bottom treasure. This is where we're going to be getting our iron pickaxe, and this is where the real run begins. This is the only bastion in the first 4 quadrants of the Nether, aka the closest to where we spawn, and the only chest in this bastion that has iron is this chest at the bottom of bottom treasure. We also get 2 really useful items, a diamond sword and diamond leggings with blast protection 4, which you might think is useless in a speedrun, but if you're on low health in the end, it actually helps absorb the damage you take from the explosives used to kill the dragon. The first big run killer though is this magma spawner. As we're entering the treasure bastion, you'll see that the magma spawner is going to obviously activate and spawn some magma cubes. The problem is if it spawns a big magma. That is a huge time loss as I have to deal with it before I can trade with piglins, and aka if this happened in a run, it's almost guaranteed to be a reset or just a poor chance. After dealing with the spawner, we have to actually trade at bottom treasure, which you probably don't see a lot these days. The easiest way to handle this is taking this lava hole here and actually taking the lava, and this becomes the trading hole that you trade with the piglins. Before you aggravate all the piglins by mining a gold block, you need a way for them to get to you, as they're not going to cross this gap in the lava. Normally in a speedrun, before you end up mining the gold block, what you'd do is you'd break through these walls, and this gives the piglins a path to come through and get to the main trading hole. But that ends up taking too much time in a set seed speedrun like this. So what we want to do instead is take our blocks, most likely wood because that's what we have so much of, and place 4 blocks across like this, and pretty much just really hope that they don't burn the piglins as they're coming across. We also changed the difficulty to hard, which allows piglins to fall from a higher height if they're aggravated at you, which gives us a better chance of getting more piglins to drop in this middle section. After all of that, if I still need more piglins, I can usually bridge over to the side here, and what this does is gives me 2 more piglins that I can put in the trading hall. These piglins are going to give us pretty much everything we need for this speedrun: string, fire res, explosive stuff, everything we can imagine. You may have also noticed this is a lot of gold blocks here at the bottom of treasure. This specific one is actually 19 gold blocks, which is more than enough gold than the piglins need to trade. And since we're going to be traveling very far after this to head to the fortress, we're going to take those 5 apples that we had earlier and specifically have 5 gold blocks worth of gold to make 5 golden apples, and that will allow us to pearl through the Nether much faster and not worry about our health. I'm not kidding when I tell you they were probably the clutchest thing in all of my speedrunning attempts. Once we end up mining all the gold, we want to hope for an early ender pearl trade, as the one thing the piglins probably won't give us is enough obsidian to blind out of the nether. So once we hopefully have a pearl trade, I'm going to aim right at this black stone pillar and jump and throw a pearl. And what that's going to do is it's going to put me right on the side here next to the stairs, and this allows me to throw another pearl in this gap, and that is going to put me right up here where I can get some obsidian in these chests. While we're up here, we're also going to do something called a pearl hang onto this top layer of soul sand by doing a sprint jump and throwing a pearl. We're then going to lower our render distance to 2, and that unloads the pearl until we're ready. After that, we head back down, check the rest of our piglin trades, and hope that we have enough of everything else, and once we have it, we'll raise our render back up and start heading to the fortress. Once we're here, it's going to take us about 6 or so pearls to end up getting to where we need to go for the fortress. What you're seeing on screen now is just one of my failed attempts that had really good routing on getting to the fortress to show you how far and how important these pearls and golden apples are. Once we get to this fortress, we're going to lower our render distance down to about 6, and we're going to be aiming at a certain part of the fortress that allow us to pearl directly onto it. Remember, we're also going to have a diamond sword at this point, which is going to be really great for killing the blazes. The point of lowering our render as well is we want to spawn as many hostile mobs as possible. Right now, I'm on peaceful, but if I change to easy, you'll see that a bunch of mobs are about to spawn on this fortress, and this happens basically every time I enter. There's a term in speedrunning called a Soul Sand Valley fortress, and even though this isn't at Soul Sand Valley, it's a warped forest, it works the same way, and it ends up spawning a absolute butt ton of mobs, as you can see. This is going to be really helpful because even though it makes it absolutely chaotic, as you'll see in a lot of runs, it is really useful for getting a bunch of blazes super fast, and we kind of just hope we get lucky and don't get too many annoying mobs. Once we have enough blaze rods, and thankfully we only need 5, we're going to be heading to the stronghold, which is going to be in this direction towards the warped forest. It takes about 2 to 3 more pearl throws to get to where we need to go, but thankfully there's a very easily marked spot, which puts us in the stronghold. After throwing some pearls to get to our destination, this pack of fire spawns every single time when the seed is generated, and if we dig right next to this 2x1 portion, we can dig directly down into lava with fire res, and this is where we'll be building our nether portal. If I splash myself with some fire res, you can see a bit better in the bottom here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a nether portal on the bottom of this lava lake, which is a little bit tricky to do, especially in survival. But once you get it situated, you're going to then drain it with a bucket. But since I'm in creative, I'll just use blocks of obsidian because why not? We're going to be standing directly on -145, -160 once the portal's built. And when we do that, we're going to be standing right on the staircase of the end portal. As I said before, we only need 5 blaze rods, which is great because this portal is a 2-eye, which saves us a bunch of time in the fortress split. And once you put all of the eyes in the portal frame, we can head into the end where you can actually see that it is a 0 cyclable end. If you've never heard of the term 0 cycle, it's basically when you pillar up to a tower that the dragon starts circling at and end up killing it there instead of waiting for it to perch at the bedrock pillar. 0 cycling is not easy, and even though I'm an advanced speedrunner, I still struggle with it from time to time. These tower heights are random depending on the seed, but on a specific seed, it is the same every time, and this seed has a very difficult 0 cycle tower. This is what pro speedrunners would consider a T100 tower, the 100 coming from our Y value. What makes this 0 cycle especially difficult on this seed is the fact that the Y value on this seed before you pearl up to the tower is very low, and it means that pearling directly all the way up top of the tower is very difficult, and normally you land 5 to 7 blocks from the top. On a better end dimension on a different seed, the Y value you're standing on before you go up to the tower might be here instead, and if it's here, it's way easier to throw a pearl to the top of the tower. But because we're not living in that world, it makes the pearl up here very difficult, and you have very little time to get the setup correct. Because of the bad pearl height on this tower, we have to do a less than optimal setup once we get up here. This means that the dragon can not only break the bed, but also have a completely different rotation, which makes it near impossible to 0 cycle. It broke my bed again. It broke my bed again. It broke my bed again! On top of that, because of the less optimal setup, I also need more explosives than I might need for a normal 0 cycle. Some tower setups I can easily do with 5 beds, but something like this, I really need at least 7 to feel confident. And even then, it can still be a problem. No. No! Dude, oh my god. How is it alive? So needless to say, this seed is not easy. I knew it was going to be difficult going in after I did the routing, but I figured that difficult only meant maybe I'll spend 4 or so hours on it. Instead, I ended up doing 8 hours of runs on the first day of attempts and only got to the end dimension on pace once. But going into day 2, I decided to do something a little bit different that I very, very rarely do with set seed speedruns for YouTube, and that was take it to a live stream. On day 2, my mental was way better because I was able to chill with my chat and just kind of talk about random stuff while also going for attempts. It really helped ease my mind and not stress out as much as I did on the first day of attempts where I was just completely in my head. I got on pace a ton, but unfortunately every time I got to the end, whether it was the dragon not perching or myself messing up a 0 cycle, it was just not happening. So after 10 grueling hours of attempts on day 2, I still ended my stream with no sub 10. On day 3, I decided to stream it again, but I started my stream much later, so I didn't have as much time as I did on day 1. I probably only had about 4 or 5 hours of attempts in me, and I started off really slow. My mechanics were bad, my movement was off, and everything just kind of felt weird. Personally, I'm blaming all of this on cold hands, but hey, you can cope with whatever you want. And honestly, even with the help of my chat, I was still starting to feel a little hopeless. But after about another 3 hours of attempts on day 3, I would like to finally share with you the sub 10 speedrun of the Minecraft Seed 2024. It's fine, but it's not fine. That's just awesome. What's up, everyone? Post commentary Couriway. I don't talk too much in the beginning of this run, so you might hear from me time to time. Epic. That epic is the only thing I say in this run for the next like 30 seconds. So I want to go a little bit more in depth in this overworld as I'm a bit quiet in the real run because I was focused up. So you can see we're grabbing the tree, and obviously you know the main route that we're going for. We're going to head in this cave in a second, but I want to talk a little bit about the goal times that we're going for. You can also see that I'm dropping in the cave while I'm in my inventory. I'm using the momentum from my jump beforehand to give me a little bit more time saved. The goal time I'm looking to enter the Nether by here is about 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Anything under that, and I'm really happy. And my fastest of that up until this point was about 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Thank God I gave myself freaking time for this, dude. Could you imagine if I procrastinated this recording till like 31st? I'm editing this currently at 9:49 p.m. on December 30th. So I am really glad that I did not procrastinate this, and it allowed me to put a lot more effort into this video, which I hope you guys enjoy. This was a really, really fun video for me to edit, and you're gonna see me grab the gravel here. I got pretty good rates there, and I was very happy about it. Now we're talking. I had been struggling with gravel a lot up until this point in the run. So, or at this point in attempts today. It was really annoying. You're going to see me grab the hay bales now, which is great. And then we're going to do a big loop around this farm with the logs. So I mined as many logs as I needed. Since I got low gravel, I mined 20 here. This has good potential. I knew because I had gotten gravel very fast that the potential for this was really good. You can see how fast we grabbed the apples too. I was pretty in tune with myself at this point, even though today had been really difficult in attempts. I was really confident just in the route at this point. So you'll see me grab exactly 20 logs, and then I'm going to head back to my furnace, grab my 4 iron, and then after doing a really cool little movement here to place a block underneath me and then use that to keep going, I'm going to craft everything I need. And this is when I realized the pace is nasty for the overworld. Whoa. Hold on. Hold on. I think this is like a sub 220 enter, but what I don't realize is I'm actually about to PB on this nether enter. This is going to be the fastest nether enter of any attempts that I have done in this, and it's going to be about a 2 minute 17 second time, I believe, which it's only a second, but when I've been doing this so much, it adds up. That is a PB and a half. Okay. So the attempts before this, I really was not too dialed in. But getting that really, really fast nether enter really hyped me up and made me realize, okay, let's get back in the zone here. Let's focus up. Let's do what we need to do. You can see there were a little bit of skeletons on this first bit of the soul sand traversing, but nothing that I couldn't really handle. The skeletons really were never too big of a problem unless there was a ghast involved, and that's where the movement was really annoying. And as long as the ghast, or the skeletons, excuse me, didn't shoot me back down the mountain or shoot me into soul sand where I had to use more blocks than I wanted, a little bit annoying. You could also see me pick block there, which is cool. Oh my god, and the fabled 6 instead of 7. What I mean there when I say the fabled 6 instead of 7 is I had done that movement so many times that I knew it took exactly 7 oak planks to get over that soul sand. But because I was fast enough and I had the right movement, I was able to do it in 6, which happened maybe 10% of attempts. You're going to see me switch to my offhand there for a second so I can grab the chest plate, and then I have the other one in my inventory to distract the piglins with when I get to the middle. All I have to do now is speed bridge here, and I'm pretty much set. It's time to enter the Bastion. Like, by far fastest Bastion. By far. Amazing. And there it goes. So what I mean by and there it goes, if you were listening earlier, I had said that if a big magma cube spawns, it's almost a run killer. But since this was literally my best pace I had ever had up until this point, I decided to keep going. And I almost got knocked off there by that mini magma cube. If I wasn't holding shift, I would have absolutely fallen in the lava. And now I just have to deal with all these magma cubes. It's definitely annoying, but not absolutely destructive of the entire pace. I still have a little bit of time. You see me throw the gold chestplate at the piglin. I actually do something really cool that was intentional. I threw the gold chestplate to distract him, but it also did not end up going in his inventory. He didn't end up picking it up. It was just for the lava, and that works out really well because then he's distracted for less time. I'm going to throw some gold for these piglins, and I'm going to switch to hard mode, get a couple more. You can see the game lag for a second there, and you can see how much more damage I do take on hardcore, or on hard. Not hardcore. This is not in hardcore. Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine. But I'm going to get all the piglins I can in this hole. This guy seems a little bit distracted. I also missed my gold throw, but thankfully, I also get a really early ender pearl throw. So what I do is called splitting the stack of ender pearls. I just right-click it to have it take up more space in my inventory, and that means when I end up going for all the items at the end, I can just pick up the pearls and don't have to worry about creating a second slot to pick up that second stack of pearls. It's kind of already pre-made for me. I had mentioned, too, that sometimes I'll build a bridge for piglins that end up like on the other side of the treasure bastion, but I didn't need to do that here because I got so many from the hard drop, which is very RNG based. I don't know why it's so RNG based in treasure bastions, but sometimes it's just like that. I'm gonna trade all the gold, pick up some items, and I'm pretty much ready to go. I split my string as well because I'd like more of that if possible, and then I throw my pearl up top. I'm pretty hyped about this pace, as you can tell. This is really, really, really good pace. And although I'm only going for sub 10, it's nice to be on like a PB style pace with this. That's like my fastest pace ever. And the best part about it is that since I'm only going for a sub 10, it gives me more time to have less luck later on in the run. If the pace is worse, I need to get really lucky in the fortress. But since this is so fast, I can have a slower fortress and still be able to get my goal time, which is kind of what I'm hoping for here. Still shot me. Skeleton falling in lava there and still shooting me really aggravated me, but it's okay. I got everything I need. I'm thinking out loud. I have it. I'm out. It's time to chug gapples and pearl to where I need a pearl. God, what a pearl. God, what a pearl. $16. Probably no 0. So I'm counting my pearls there because I know how many pearls it takes for me to throw. This was a really bad pearl. That was a really bad pearl. I don't know what I was going for. I was going for going lower here. I can either go high or low ground, but because I had less pearls, I wanted to go lower. I should have thrown the pearl more to the left, though, so I didn't have to deal with as much height to build up on. I also said no 0 there because 0 is obviously reliant on how many pearls I have, but since I'm throwing basically all of them here, I don't really have a chance to save more for 0. A great start. Oh, phenomenal. Okay, there we go. That's more like it. This pearl was an incredible pearl throw. You could see how close I was if you rewind to hitting the top of the fortress, but I knew it wasn't going to happen because I know my pearl throws, and that felt really good.
Hey boy, what's up?
Really?
You showed the first run of 1K the other stream, and it reminded me just how much I love that content.
Anime, thank you for the 23 months. I appreciate it. As I'm getting ready for the end here, I know I don't have any pearls to throw, so I can't go for 0. all I'm hoping for at this point is about a minute and 40-second perch, which is not unreasonable. It's a slightly above average perch. I use my soul sand to bridge out to the top here because this is very unforgiving terrain without an ender pearl. And like so many other attempts before, all I can do now is just wait. And I'm really, really hoping this is the one. Because surely, right? Surely I get a literal, like, slightly above average purge. No? Okay, cool. No? Okay. At this point, I genuinely thought it wasn't going to perch. But by a miracle, you are in fact going to be able to enjoy the one cycle. It's over! It's over. Oh my god. It's actually doable. You can beat the seed in under 10 minutes. Society has changed for the better. This took so long. This took so long. Oh my god. Listen, it wasn't a 0. We didn't get the 0. But I didn't choke the 0 on this run because I didn't have enough explosives for it. And this was my best overworld ever. So we take that. We absolutely take that. 224 plus like 50 0 attempts on my practice instance. Oh, 224 in the seed 2024? Wait, that's actually crazy. If you ended up enjoying this video, let me know with a like and a comment. I absolutely love doing this tradition, and I hope you guys do too. Make sure to follow me on Twitch, by the way, as I'm going to be streaming a lot more, and I'm probably live right now doing a marathon of no reset attempts, as I'm still trying to beat Minecraft 100,000 times before I die. Kind of morbid, but what are you going to do? Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye!